speak, I wait 3 days, and then I know him intuitively. The second brother, I know him when he speaks, and if he won't talk, I strike up a conversation. But what if he knows that trick? Asked the judge. Which reminds me of the mother who tells her child, when you're walking through the graveyard at night and you see a boogeyman, run at it, and it will go away. But what, replies the child, if the boogeyman's mother has told it to do the same thing? Boogeymen have mothers too. The second brother had no answer. The judge then asked the youngest brother, what if a man cannot be made to say anything? How do you learn his hidden nature? I sit in front of him in silence and set up a ladder made of patience, and if in his presence a language from beyond joy and beyond grief begins to pour from my chest, I know that his soul is as deep and bright as the star canopus rising over Yemen. And so when I start speaking a powerful right arm of words sweeping down, I know him from what I say and how I say it, because there's a window open between us, mixing the night air of our beings. The youngest was, obviously, the laziest. He won. Only breath. Not Christian or Jew or Muslim, not Hindu, Buddhist, Sufi or Zen, not any religion or cultural system. I am not from the East or the West, not out of the ocean or up from the ground, not natural or ethereal, not composed of elements at all. I do not exist, am not an entity in this world or the next, did not descend from Adam and Eve, or any origin story. My place is placeless, a trace of the traceless, neither body or soul. I belong to the beloved, have seen the two worlds as one, and that one call to and know, first, last, outer, inner, only that breath-breathing human being. There is a way between voice and presence, where information flows. In disciplined silence, it opens. With wandering talk, it closes. 4. Spring giddiness. Stand in the wake of this chattering and grow airy. On spring giddiness. Springtime, when ecstasy seems the natural way to be, and any other out of tune with the season of soul growth. Song, airy silence, a lively conversation between plants. No urgency about what gets said or not said. We feel part of some hilarious nub pulling up through the surface into light, or lying back in a wagon, going who knows where. The weather of spring in Persia and Turkey and in the southeastern United States is all one long extravagant absorption with ground and sky, the fragrances and what unfolds from within. In lucky places such as these, spring is not so much a metaphor for a state of attunement as it is that attunement. Or say it this way, for a mystic, the inner world is a weather that contains the universe and uses it as symbolic language. Spring. Again the violet bows to the lily. Again the rose is tearing off her gown. The green ones have come from the other world, tipsy, like the breeds up to some new foolishness. Again, near the top of the mountain, the anemone's sweet features appear. The hyacinth speaks formally to the jasmine, peace be with you, and peace to you, lad. Come walk with me in this meadow. Again, there are Sufis everywhere. The bud is shy, but the wind removes her veil suddenly. My friend. The friend is here, like water in the stream, like a lotus on the water. The narcissus winks at the wisteria. Whenever you say, and the clove to the willow, you are the one I hope for. The willow replies, consider these chambers of mine yours. Welcome. The apple, orange, why the frown? so that those who mean harm will not see my beauty. The ring dove comes asking, Where? Where is the friend? With one note, the nightingale indicates the rose. Again, the season of spring has come, and a spring source rises under everything, a moon sliding from the shadows. Many things must be left unsaid, because it's late. But whatever conversation we haven't had tonight, we'll have tomorrow, where everything is music. Don't worry about saving these songs, and if one of our instruments breaks, it doesn't matter. We have fallen into the place where everything is music. The strumming and the flute notes rise into the atmosphere, and even if the whole world's harp should burn up, there will still be hidden instruments playing. So the candle flickers and goes out. We have a piece of flint and a spark. This singing art is seafoam. The graceful movements come from a pearl somewhere on the ocean floor. Poems reach up like spindrift and the edge of driftwood along the beach, wanting. They derive from a slow and powerful root that we can't see. Stop the words now. Open the window in the center of your chest and let the spirits fly in and out. A great wagon. When I see your face, the stones start spinning. You appear, all studying wonders. I lose my place. Water turns pearly. Fire dies down and doesn't destroy. In your presence, I don't want what I thought I wanted. Those 3 little hanging lamps. Inside your face, the ancient manuscripts seem like rusty mirrors. You breathe, new shapes appear, and the music of a desire spread its spring begins to move like a great wagon. Drive slowly. Some of us walking alongside our lane. Today, like every other day, we wake up empty and frightened. Don't open the door to the study and begin reading. Take down a musical instrument. Let the beauty we love be what we do. There are hundreds of ways to kneel and kiss the ground. Out beyond ideas of wrongdoing and right doing, there is a field. I'll meet you there. When the soul lies down in that grass, the world is too full to talk about. Ideas, language, even the phrase each other doesn't make any sense. The breeze at dawn has secrets to tell you. Don't go back to sleep. You must ask for what you really want. Don't go back to sleep. People are going back and forth across the door sill where the 2 worlds touch. The door is round and open. Don't go back to sleep. I would love to kiss you. The price of kissing is your life. Now my loving is running toward my life, shouting, What a bargain! Let's buy it! Daylight, full of small dancing particles and the one great turning. Our souls are dancing with you. Without feet, they dance. Can you see them when I whisper in your ear? They try to say what you are, spiritual or sexual. They wonder about Solomon and all his wives. In the body of the world, they say, there is a soul, and you are that. But we have ways within each other that will never be said by anyone. Come to the orchard in spring. There is light and wine and sweethearts and the pomegranate flowers. If you do not come, these do not matter. If you do come, these do not matter. Spring is Christ. Everyone is eaten and fallen asleep. The house is empty. We walk out to the garden to let the apple meet the peach, to carry messages between rose and jasmine. Spring is Christ, raising martyred plants from their shrouds, their mouths open in gratitude, wanting to be kissed. The glow of the rose and the tulip means a lamp is inside. A leaf trembles. I tremble in the winged beauty. The censer fans into flame. This wind is the Holy Spirit. The trees are merry. Watch how husband and wife play subtle games with their hands. Cloudy pearls from Arden are thrown across the lovers, as is the marriage custom. The scent of Joseph's shirt comes to Jacob. A red carnelian of Yemeni laughter is heard by Muhammad in Mecca. We talk about this and that. There's no rest, except on these branching moments. Shreds of steam. Light again, and the one who brings light. Change the way you live. From the ocean that, wine fire in each cup. 2 or 3 of the long dead wake up. 2 or 3 drunks become lion hunters. Sunlight washes a dark face. The flower of what's true opens in the face. Meadow grass and garden ground grow damp again. A strong light, like fingers, massages our heads. No dividing these fingers from those. One level flows into it. It seeps into everything. The passionate pots boil. Clothing tears into the air. Poets fume shreds of steam, never so happy as out in the light. The steam bath. Steam fills the bath, and frozen figures on the wall open their eyes, wet and round, narcissus eyes that see enormous distances, and new ears that love the details of any story. The figures dance like friends diving, and coming up and diving again. Steam spills into the courtyard. It's the noise of resurrection. They move from one corner, laughing, across to the opposite corner. No one notices how steam opens the rows of each mind, fills every beggar's cup solid with coins. Hold out a basket. It fills up so well that emptiness becomes what you want. The judge and the accused forget the sentencing. Someone stands up to speak, and the wood of the table becomes holy. The tabard in that second is actually made of wine. The dead drink it in. Then the steam evaporates. Figures sink back into the wall, eyes blank, ears just lines. Now it's happening again, outside. The garden fills with bird and leaf sounds. We stand in the wake of this chattering and grow airy. How can anyone say what happens, even if each of us dips a pen 100 million times into ink? The ground cries out. I feel like the ground, astonished at what the atmosphere has brought to it. What I know is growing inside me. Rain makes every molecule pregnant with a mystery. We groan with women in labor. The ground cries out, I am truth, and glory is here, breaks open, and a camel is born out of it. A branch falls from a tree, and there's a snake. Muhammad said, a faithful believer is a good camel, always looking to its master, who takes perfect care. He brands the flank. He sets out hay. He binds the knees with reasonable rules, and now he loosens all bindings and lets his camel dance, tearing the bridle and ripping the blankets. The field itself sprouts new forms, while the camel dances over them, imaginary plants no one has thought of. But all these new seeds, no matter how they try, do not reveal the other sun. They hide it. Still, the effort is joy, one by one, to keep uncovering pearls and oyster shells. Unfold your own myth. Who gets up early to discover the moment life begins? Who finds us here circling, bewildered, like atoms? Who comes to a spring thirsty and sees the moon reflected in it? Who, like Jacob blind with grief and age, smells the shirt of his lost son and can see again? Who lets a bucket down and brings up a flowing prophet? Or like Moses, goes for fire and finds what burns inside the sunrise? Jesus slips into a house to escape enemies and opens a door to the other world. Solomon cuts open a fish, and there's a gold ring. Omar storms in to kill the prophet and leaves with blessings. Chase a deer and end up everywhere. An oyster opens his mouth to swallow one drop. Now there's a pearl. A vagrant wanders empty ruins. Suddenly he's wealthy. But don't be satisfied with stories, how things have gone with others. Unfold your own myth without complicated explanation, so everyone will understand the passage. We have opened you. Start walking toward Shams. Your legs will get heavy and tired. Then comes a moment of feeling the wings you've grown, lifting. Not a day on any calendar. Spring, and everything outside is growing, even the tall cypress tree. We must not leave this place. Around the lip of the cup we share, these words: my life is not mine. If someone were to play music, it would have to be very sweet. We're drinking wine, but not through lips. We're sleeping it off, but not in bed. Rub the cup across your forehead. This day is outside, living and dying. Give up wanting what other people have. That way you're safe. Where? Where can I be safe, you ask? This is not a day for asking questions, not a day on any calendar. This day is conscious of itself. This day is a lover, bread, and gentleness, more manifest than saying can say. Thoughts take form with words, but this daylight is beyond and before thinking and imagining. Those two, they are so thirsty, but this gives smoothness to water. Their mouths are dry, and they are tired. The rest of this poem is too blurry for them to read. Flutes for dancing. It's lucky to hear the flutes for dancing coming down the road. The ground is glowing, the table's set in the yard. We will drink all this wine tonight because it's spring. It is. It's a growing sea. We're clouds over the sea, or flecks of matter in the ocean when the ocean seems lit from within. I know I'm drunk when I start this ocean talk. Would you like to see the moon split in half with one throw? The shape of my tongue. This mirror inside me shows I can't say what, but I can't not know. I run from body, I run from spirit. I do not belong anywhere. I'm not alive. You smell the decay? You talk about my craziness. Listen rather to the honed blade sanity, I say. This gored head on top of a dervish robe. Do I look like someone you know? This dipper gourd full of liquid upside down and not spilling a drop. Or if it spills, it drops into God and rounds into pearls. I form a cloud over that ocean and gather spillings. When Shams is here, I reign. After a day or two, lilies sprout, the shape of my tongue. The grasses. The same wind that uproots trees makes the grasses shine. The lordly wind loves the weakness and the lowness of grasses. Never brag of being strong. The axe doesn't worry how thick the branches are. It cuts them to pieces, but not the leaves. It leaves the leaves alone. A flame doesn't consider the size of a woodpile. A butcher doesn't run from a flock of sheep. What is form in the presence of reality? Very feeble. Reality keeps the sky turned over like a cup above us revolving. Who turns the sky wheel? The universal intelligence. And the motion of the body comes from the spirit like a water wheel that's held in a stream. The inhaling, exhaling is from spirit, now angry, now peaceful. Wind destroys, and wind protects. There is no reality, but God, says the completely surrendered sheep, who is an ocean for all beings. The levels of creation are straws in that ocean. The movement of the straws comes from an agitation in the water. When the ocean wants the straws calm, it sends them close to shore. When it wants them back in the deep surge, it does with them as the wind does with the grasses. This never ends. The sheep who played with children. A certain young man was asking around, I need to find a wise person. I have a problem. A bystander said, there's no one with intelligence in our town except that man over there playing with the children, the one riding the stick horse. He has keen, fiery insight and vast dignity like the night sky, but he conceals it in the madness of child's play. The young seeker approached the children. Dear father, you who have become as a child, tell me a secret. Go away. This is not a day for secrets, but please, ride your horse this way just for a minute. The sheep play galloped over. Speak quickly. I can't hold this one still for long. Whoops. Don't let him kick you. This is a wild one. The young man felt he couldn't ask his serious question in the crazy atmosphere, so he joked, I need to get married. Is there someone suitable on this street? There are 3 kinds of women in the world. 2 are griefs, and 1 is a treasure to the soul. The first, when you marry her, is all yours. The second is half yours, and the third is not yours at all. Now get out of here, before this horse kicks you in the head. Easy now. The sheep rode off among the children. The young man shouted, Tell me more about the kinds of women. The sheep on his cane horsey came closer. The virgin of your first love is all yours. She will make you feel happy and free. A childless widow is the second. She will be half yours. The third, who is nothing to you, is a married woman with a child. By her first husband, she had a child, and all her love goes into that child. She will have no connection with you. Now watch out, back away. I'm going to turn this rascal around. He gave a loud whoop and rode back, calling the children around him. One more question, master. The sheep circled. What is it? Quickly. That rider over there needs me. I think I'm in love. What is this playing that you do? Why do you hide your intelligence so? The people here want to put me in charge. They want me to be judge, magistrate, and interpreter of all the texts. The knowing I have doesn't want that. It wants to enjoy itself. I am a plantation of sugar cane, and at the same time, I'm eating the sweetness. Knowledge that is acquired is not like this. Those who have it worry if audiences like it or not. It's a bait for popularity. Disputational knowing wants customers. It has no soul. Robust and energetic before a responsive crowd, it slumps when no one is there. The only real customer is God. Chew quietly your sweet sugarcane God love and stay playfully childish. Your face will turn rosy with illumination, like the red bud flowers. Let the lover be disgraceful, crazy, absent-minded. Someone sober will worry about things going badly. Let the lover be. All day and night music, a quiet, bright reed song. If it fades, we fade. 5. Feeling separation. Don't come near me. On separation. We know separation so well because we've tasted the union. The reed flute makes music because it has already experienced changing mud and rain and light into sugarcane. Longing becomes more poignant if in the distance you can't tell whether your friend is going away or coming back. The pushing away pulls you in. Sometimes I forget completely. Sometimes I forget completely what companionship is. Unconscious and insane, I spill sad energy everywhere. My story gets told in various ways. A romance, a dirty joke, to any number, it will go around. These dark suggestions that I follow, are they part of some plan? Friends, be careful. Don't come near me, out of curiosity or sympathy. A man and a woman arguing. One night in the desert, a poor Bedouin woman has this to say to her husband: "Everyone is happy and prosperous except us. We have no bread, we have no spices, we have no water jug, we barely have any clothes, no blankets for the night. We fantasize that the full moon is a cake. We reach for it. We're an embarrassment even to the beggars. Everyone avoids us. Arab men are supposed to be generous warriors, but look at you, stumbling around. If some guest were to come to us, we'd steal his rags when he fell asleep. Who is your guide that leads you to this? We can't even get a handful of lentils. 10 years worth of nothing. That's what we are." She went on and on. "If God is abundant, we must be following an impostor. Who's leading us? Some fake that always says, 'Tomorrow. Illumination will bring you treasure tomorrow.' As everyone knows, that never comes. Though I guess it happens very rarely sometimes that a disciple following an impostor can somehow surpass the pretender. But still, I want to know what this deprivation says about us." The husband replied, finally, "How long will you complain about money and our prospects for money? The torrent of our life is mostly gone by. Don't worry about transient things. Think how the animals live. The dove on the branch giving the singing of the night, every living thing its nourishment. These pains that you feel are messengers. Listen to them. Turn them to sweetness. The night is almost over. You were young once and content. Now you think about money all the time. You used to be that money. You were a healthy vine. It's due to the hair. And don't call me your mate, you fraud. You scramble after home with the dogs. And the snake is charming you. You talk about God a lot, and it's joy. This life is honest and beautiful. You can hide nothing when we're like this. You say I'm really arrogant and greedy, and you say I'm a father. Me. You're patient. You'll see the blessings and what's light and how we live. This argument continued throughout the day, and even longer. A night full of talking that hurts. My worst held back secrets. Everything has to do with loving and not loving. This night will pass. Then we have work to do. An empty garden. You miss the garden because you want a small fig from a tree. You meet the beautiful woman. You're joking with an old crone. It makes me want to cry how she detains, stinking mouthed with 100 talons, putting her head over the roof edge to call down. Tasteless fig, fold over fold, empty as dry rotten garlic. She has you tight by the belt, even though there's no flour. Death will open your eyes to what her leather sign up. No more advice. Let yourself be. The diver's clothes lying empty. You're sitting with us, but you're also out walking in a field. You are yourself the animal we hunt when you come with us on the hunt. You're in your bank on the beach. You're the fish. In the ocean are many bright strands and many like veins that are seen when a wing is lifted up. Your hidden self. Has anyone seen the boy who used to come here? Round-faced troublemaker, quick to find a joke, slow to be serious, red shirt, perfect coordination, sly, strong muscles, with things always in his pocket, reed flute, ivory pick, polished and ready for his talent. You know that one. Stories about him? Pharaoh and the whole Egyptian world collapsed for such a Joseph. I'd gladly spend years getting word of him. even third or fourth hand. My worst habit. My worst habit is I get so tired of winter, I become a torture to those I'm with. If you're not here, nothing grows. I lack clarity. Words tangle and knot up. How to cure bad water? Send it back to the river. How to cure bad habits? Send me back to you. When water gets caught in habitual whirlpools, dig a way out given only to those who work so hard they can't hope. The hopers would feel slighted if they knew. Look as long as you can at the friend you love, no matter whether that friend is moving away from you or coming back toward you. Don't let your throat tighten with fear. Take sips of breath all day and night before death closes off. Dissolver of sugar, dissolve me. This is the time. Do it gently with the touch of a hand or a look. Every morning I waited. That's when it's happened before. Do it suddenly like an execution. How else can I get ready for death? You breathe without a body like a spark. You grieve and I begin to feel lighter. You keep me away with your arm. Keeping away is pulling me in. I need more grace than I thought. How did you kill your rooster? On the desire body. Sufis call the wantings nafs. From the urgent lovers want each other to the chaos and search for truth. Be careful, Rumi suggests. Surrender is for that energy. So the nafs are energies that keep us moving, stopping nowhere. Union with the divine continually unfolds. Next to the glowing bee, the junkyard's rusted stacks of old desire boxes. Let the bee we love keep turning into action, transmuting to another. What have I ever lost by dying? Rumi asks, exchanging one set of nouns for the next. Chopped rooster energy becomes another dining room glory. Particles of praise shine in the sunlight. Anything you grab hold of the bank breaks with the river's pressure. When you do things from your soul, the river itself moves through you. Freshness and a deep joy are signs of the current. Sexual intimacy, what a woman's laughter. Someone offhand to the Caliph of Egypt. The king of Mosul has a concubine like no other, more beautiful than I can describe. She looks like this. He draws her likeness on paper. The Caliph drops his cup. Immediately he sends his captain to Mosul with an army of thousands. The siege goes on for a week, with many casualties. The towers unsteady, as soft as wax. The king of Mosul sends an envoy. Why this killing? If you want the city, I will lead you to it. If you want more wealth, that's even easier. The captain takes out the piece of fur with the girl's pigment. This. The strong king of Mosul is quick to reply. Lead her out. The idol belongs with her. The part of infinite love, without which the world does not evolve. Objects move in organic dictation to selves endowed with spirit through the urgency of every love that wants to, because the girl is not there. I have given myself, I shall put this moment to a test. The leader of Captain's body. Now he loses all control. I am in love, he says. Do not act in speed. Take counsel with a master. But the captain couldn't. His infatuation is a black water wave carrying him away. Something that doesn't exist makes a phantom appear in the darkness of a well, and the phantom itself becomes strong enough to throw actual lions into the hole, and does not return straight to the cliff, but instead camps in a secluded meadow, blazing. He can't tell ground from sky. His reason is lost in a drumming sound, worthless radish and son of a radish. The caliph himself a gnat, nothing. But just as this cultivator tears off the woman's pants and lies down between her legs, his penis moving straight to the mark, there's a great tumult and a rising cry of soldiers outside the tent. He leaps up with his bare bottom shining and runs out, scimitar in hand. A black lion from a nearby swamp has gotten in among the horses. Chaos, the lion jumping 20 feet in the air, tensing like an ocean. The captain quickly approaches the lion, splits his head with one blow, and now he's running back to the woman's tent. When he stretches out her beauty again, his penis goes even more erect. The engagement, the coming together, is as with the lion. His penis stays erect all through it, and it does not scatter semen feebly. The beautiful one is amazed at his virility. Immediately, with great energy, she joins with his energy, and their two spirits go out from them as one. Whenever two are linked this way, there comes another from the unseen world. It may be through birth, if nothing prevents conception, but a third does come when two unite in love, or in hate. The intense qualities born of such joining appear in the spiritual world. You will recognize them when you go there. Your associations bear progeny. Be careful, therefore. Wait and be conscious before you go to meet anyone. Remember, there are children to consider. Children you must live with and tend to, born of your emotions with another, entities with a form and speech and a place to live. They are crying to you even now. You have forgotten us. Come back. Be aware of this. A man and a woman together always have a spiritual result. The captain was not so aware. He fell and stuck like a gnat in a pot of buttermilk, totally absorbed in his love affair. Then, just as suddenly, he's uninterested. He tells the woman, "Don't say a word of this to the caliph." He takes her there, and the caliph is smitten. She's 100 times more beautiful than he's imagined. A certain man asks an eloquent teacher, "What is true and what false?" This is false. A bat hides from the sun, not from the idea of the sun. It's the idea that puts fear in the bat and leads it deeper into the cave. You have an idea of an enemy that attaches you to certain companions. Moses, the inner light of revelation, lit up the top of Sinai, but the mountain could not hold that light. Don't deceive yourself that way. Having the idea is not living the reality of anything. There's no courage in the idea of battle. The bathhouse wall is covered with pictures and much talk of heroism. Try to make an idea move from ear to eye. Then your woolly ears become as subtle as fibers of light. Your whole body becomes a mirror, all eye and spiritual breathing. Let your ear lead you to your lover. So the caliph is mightily in love with this girl. His kingdom vanishes like lightning. If your loving is numb, know this. When what you own can vanish, it's only a dream, a vanity, breath through a mustache. It would have killed you. There are those that say nothing lasts. They're wrong. Every moment they say, if there were some other reality, I would have seen it. I would know about it. Because a child doesn't understand a chain of reasoning, should adults give up being rational? If reasonable people don't feel the presence of love within the universe, that doesn't mean it's not there. Joseph's brothers did not see Joseph's beauty, but Jacob never lost sight of it. Moses at first saw only the wooden staff, but to his other seeing, it was a viper and a cause of panic. Eyesight is in conflict with inner knowledge. Moses' hand is a hand and a source of light. These matters are as real as the infinite is real, but they seem religious fantasies to some, to those who believe only in the reality of the sexual organs and the digestive tract. Don't mention the friend to those. To others, sex and hunger are fading images, and the friend is more constantly, solidly here. Let the former go to their church, and we'll go to ours. So, the caliph has the idea of entering the beautiful woman, and he comes to her to do his wanting. Memory raises his penis, straining it in thought toward the pushing down and the lifting up, which make that member grow large with delight. But as he actually lies down with the woman, there comes to him a decree from God to stop these voluptuous doings. A very tiny sound, like a mouse might make. The penis droops, and desire slips away. He thinks that whispering sound is a snake rising off the straw mat. The girl sees his drooping and sails into fits of laughing at the marvelous thing. She remembers the captain killing the laughter of those who eat hashish. Everything is funny. Every emotion has a source and a key that opens it. The caliph is furious. He draws his sword. What's so amusing? Tell me everything you're thinking. Don't hold anything back. At this moment I'm clairvoyant. If you lie, I'll behead you. If you tell the truth, I'll give you your freedom. He stacks 7 Qurans on top of each other and swears to do as he says. When she finally gets hold of herself, the girl tells all, in great detail, of the camp in the meadow, the killing of the lion, the captain's return to the tent with his penis still hard as the horn of a rhino, and the contrast with the caliph's own member sinking down because of one mouse whisper. Hidden thing. Do not so bad seed. Be sure, they'll come up. Rain and the sun's heat make them rise into the air. Spring comes after the fall of the leaves, which is proof enough of the fact of resurrection. Secrets come out in spring, out from earth lips into leaf. Worries become wine headaches. But where did the wine come from? Think. A branch of blossoms does not look like seed. A man does not resemble semen. Jesus came from Gabriel's breath, but he is not in that form. The grape doesn't look like the vine. Loving actions are the seed of something completely different, a living place. No origin is like where it leads to. We can't know where our pain is from. We don't know all that we've done. Perhaps it's best that we don't. Nevertheless, we suffer for it. The caliph comes back to his clarity. In the pride of my power, I took this woman from another. So, of course, someone came to knock on my door. Whoever commits adultery is a pimp for his own wife. If you cause injury to someone, you draw that same injury toward yourself. My treachery made my friend a traitor to me. This repetition must stop somewhere. Here, in an act of mercy. I'll send you back to the captain, saying another of my wives is jealous, and since the captain was brave enough to bring you back from Mosul, he shall have you in marriage. This is the virility of a prophet. The caliph was sexually impotent, but his manliness was most powerful. The kernel of true manhood is the ability to abandon sensual indulgences. The intensity of the captain's libido is less than a husk compared to the caliph's nobility in ending the cycle of sowing lust and reaping secrecy and vengefulness. Tattooing in Cosmic. In Cosmic, they have a custom of tattooing themselves for good luck with a blue ink on the back of the hand, the shoulder, wherever. A certain man there goes to his barber and asks to be given a powerful, heroic blue lion on his shoulder blade. And do it with flair. I've got Leo ascending. I want plenty of blue. But as soon as the needle starts pricking, he howls, "What are you doing?" The tail. "That lion's rump is in a bad place for me. It cuts off my wind." The barber continues, and immediately the man yells out, "Ooh, which part now?" "The ear." "Doc, let's do a lion with no ears this time." The barber shakes his head, and once more the needle, once more the wailing. "Where are you now?" "The belly." "I like a lion without a belly." The master lion maker stands for a long time with his fingers in his teeth. Finally, he throws the needle down. No one has ever been asked to do such a thing. To create a lion without a tail or a head or a stomach. God himself could not do it. Brother, stand the pain. Escape the poison of your impulses. The sky will bow to your beauty if you do. Learn to light the candle. Rise with the sun. Turn away from the cave of your sleeping. That way a thorn expands to a rose. A particular glows with the universal. What is it to praise? Make yourself particles. What is it to know something of God? Burn inside that presence. Burn up. Copper melts in the healing elixir. So melt yourself in the mixture that sustains existence. You tighten your two hands together, determined not to give up saying I and we. This tightening blocks you. The center of the fire. No more wine for me. I'm past delighting in the thick red and the clear white. I'm thirsty for my own blood as it moves into a field of action. Draw the keenest blade you have and strike until the head circles about the body. Make a mountain of skulls like that. Split me apart. Don't stop at the mouth. Don't listen to anything I say. I must enter the center of the fire. Fire is my child, but I must be consumed and become fire. Why is there crackling and smoke? Because the firewood and the flames are still talking. You are too dense. Go away. You are too wavering. I have solid form. In the blackness, those two friends keep arguing, like a wanderer with no face, like the most powerful bird in existence, sitting on its perch, refusing to move. What can I say to someone so curled up with wanting, so constricted in his love? Break your pitcher against a rock. We don't need any longer to haul pieces of the ocean around. We must drown, away from heroism and descriptions of heroism, like a pure spirit lying down, pulling its body over it, like a bride her husband for a cover to keep her warm. Someone who goes with half a loaf of bread to a small place that fits like a nest around him. Someone who wants no more, who's not himself longed for by anyone else. He is a letter to everyone. You open it. It says, live. The mystery does not get clearer by repeating the question, nor is it bought with going to amazing places. Until you've kept your eyes and your wanting still for 50 years, you don't begin to cross over from confusion. Muhammad and the Huge Eater. Husam demands that we begin Book 5. Ziyahak, the radiance of truth. Husamuddin, master to the pure masters. If my human throat were not so narrow, I would praise you as you should be praised, in some language other than this word language. But a domestic fowl is not a falcon. We must mix the varnish we have and brush it on. I'm not talking to materialists. When I mention Husam, I speak only to those who know spiritual secrets. Praise is simply drawing back the curtains to let his qualities in. The sun, of course, remains apart from what I say. What the sayer of praise is really praising is himself by saying implicitly, my eyes are clear. Likewise, someone who criticizes is criticizing himself. saying implicitly, I can't see very well with my eyes so inflamed. Don't ever feel sorry for someone who wants to be the sun, that other sun, the one that makes rotten things fresh. And don't ever envy someone who wants to be this world. Usam is the sun I mean. He can't be understood with the mind or said, but will stumble and stagger trying to. Just because you can't drink all that falls doesn't mean you give up taking sips of rainwater. If the nut of the mystery can't be held, at least let me touch the shell. Usam, refresh my words, your words. My words are only a husk to your knowing, an earth atmosphere to your enormous spaces. What I say is meant only to point to that, to you, so that whoever ever hears these words will not grieve that they never had a chance to look. Your presence draws me out from vanity and imagination and opinion. Awe is the salve that will heal our eyes. And keen, constant listening. Stay out in the open like a date palm lifting its arms. Don't bore mouse holes in the ground, arguing inside some doctrinal labyrinth. That intellectual orphan woof keeps you wrapped in blindness. And 4 other characteristics keep you from loving. The Quran calls them 4 birds. Say Bismillah in the name of God and chop the heads off those mischief birds. The rooster of lust, the peacock of wanting to be famous, the crow of ownership, and the duck of virgincy. Kill them and revive them in another form, changed and harmless. There is a duck inside you. Her bill is never still, searching through dry and wet alike, like the robber in an empty house, cramming objects in his sack, anything, always thinking, there's no time, I won't get another chance. A true person is more calm and deliberate. He or she doesn't worry about interruptions. But that duck is so afraid of missing out that it's lost all generosity and frighteningly expanded its capacity to take in food. A large group of unbelievers once came to see Muhammad. Since you are all filled with me, it will be as though I am the host. Each friend of Muhammad chose a guest, but the one huge person left behind. He sat in the entrance of the mosque, like thick dregs in a cup. So Muhammad invited the man to his own household, where the enormous son of a Gur's Turk ate everything, the milk of 7 goats, and enough food for 18 people. The others in the house were furious. When the man went to bed, the maid slammed the door behind him and chained it shut, out of meanness and resentment. Around midnight, the man felt several strong urges at once. But the door, he works it, puts a blade through the crack. Nothing. The urgency increases. The room contracts. He falls back into a confused sleep and dreams of a desolate place, since he himself is such a desolate place. So, dreaming he's by himself, he squeezes out a huge amount, and another huge amount. But he soon becomes conscious enough to know that the covers he gathers around him are full of shit. He shakes with spasms of the shame that usually keeps men from doing such things. He thinks, my sleep is worse than my being awake. The waking is just full of food. My sleep is all this. Now he's crying, bitterly embarrassed, waiting for dawn and the noise of the door opening, hoping that somehow he can get out without anyone seeing him as he is. I'll shorten it. The door opens. He's saved. Muhammad comes at dawn. He opens the door and becomes invisible, so the man won't feel ashamed, so he can escape and wash himself and not have to face the door opener. Someone completely absorbed in Allah, like Muhammad, can do this. Muhammad had seen all that went on in the night, but he held back from letting the man out until all happened as it needed to happen. Many actions which seem cruel are from a deep friendship. Many demolitions are actually renovations. Later, a meddlesome servant brought Muhammad the bedclothes. Look what your guest has done. Muhammad smiles. himself a mercy given to all beings. Bring me a bucket of water. Everyone jumps up. No, let us do this. We live to serve you, and this is the kind of handwork we can do. Yours is the inner heart work. I know that, but this is an extraordinary occasion. A voice inside him is saying, there is great wisdom in washing these bedclothes. Wash them. Meanwhile, the man who soiled the covers and fled is returning to Muhammad's house. He has left behind an amulet that he always carried. He enters and sees the hands of God washing his incredibly dirty linen. He forgets the amulet. A great love suddenly enters him. He tears his shirt open. He strikes his head against the wall and the door. Blood pours from his nose. People come from other parts of the house. He's shrieking, stay away. He hits his head. I have no understanding. He prostrates himself before Muhammad. You are the whole. I am a despicable, tiny, meaningless piece. I can't look. He's quiet and quivering with remorse. Muhammad bends over and holds him and caresses him and opens his inner knowing. The cloud weeps and then the garden sprouts. The baby cries and the mother's milk flows. The nurse of creation has said, let them cry a lot, so your life will stay fresh. Cry easily, like a little child. Let body needs dwindle and soul decisions increase. Diminish what you give your physical self. Your spiritual eye will begin to open. When the body empties and stays empty, God fills it with musk and mother of pearl. That way, a man gives his dung and gets purity. Listen to the prophets, not to some adolescent boy. The foundation and the walls of the spiritual life are made of self-denials and disciplines. Stay with friends who support you in these. Talk with them about sacred texts and how you're doing and how they're doing, and keep your practices together. Fasting. There's hidden sweetness in the stomach's emptiness. We are lutes, no more, no less. If the sound box is stuffed full of anything, no music. If the brain and the belly are burning clean with fasting, every moment a new song comes out of the fire. The fog clears, and new energy makes you run up the steps in front of you. Being an ugly metal statue sits where your spirit should. When you fast, good habits gather like friends who want to help. Fasting is Solomon's ring. Don't give it to some illusion and lose your power. But even if you have, if you've lost all will and control, they come back when you fast. Like soldiers appearing out of the ground, pennants flying above them. A table descends to your tents. Jesus' table. Expect to see it when you fast. This table, spread with other food. Better than the broth of cabbages. Bismillah. It's a habit of yours to walk slowly. You hold a grudge for years. With such heaviness, how can you be modest? With such attachments, do you expect to arrive anywhere? Be wide as the air to learn a secret. Right now, you're equal portions clay and water, thick mud. Abraham learned how the sun and moon and the stars all set. He said, no longer will I try to assign partners for God. You are so weak. Give up to grace. The ocean takes care of each wave till it gets to shore. You need more help than you know. You're trying to live your life in open scaffolding. Say Bismillah in the name of God. Wean yourself. Little by little, wean yourself. This is the gist of what I have to say. From an embryo, whose nourishment comes in the blood, move to an infant drinking milk, to a child on solid food, to a searcher after wisdom, to a hunter of more invisible game. Think how it is to have a conversation with an embryo. You might say, the world outside is vast and intricate. There are wheat fields and mountain passes and orchards in bloom. At night, there are millions of galaxies, and in sunlight, the beauty of friends dancing at a wedding. You ask the embryo why he or she stays cooped up in the dark with eyes closed. Listen to the answer. There is no other world. I only know what I've experienced. You must be hallucinating. Continue this way. The ocean flows back in and puts up a foam barrier and then withdraws. After a while, it will come in again. This audience wants to hear more about the visiting Sufi and his friends in meditation, but be discerning. Don't think of this as a normal character in an ordinary story. The ecstatic meditation ended. Dishes of food were brought out. The Sufi remembered his donkey that had carried him all day. He called to the servant there, "Please go to the stable and mix the barley generously with the straw for the animal. Please. Don't worry yourself with such matters. All things have been attended to. But I want to make sure that you wet the barley first. He's an old donkey, and his teeth are shaky." "Why are you telling me this? I have given the appropriate orders. But did you remove the saddle gently and put salve on the sore he has?" "I have served thousands of guests with these difficulties, and all have gone away satisfied. Here you are treated as family. Do not worry. Enjoy yourself. But did you warm his water just a little, and then add only a bit of straw to the barley?" "Sir, I'm ashamed for you. And please sweep the stall clean of stones and dung, and scatter a little dry earth in it." "For God's sake, sir, leave my business to me." "And did you curry comb his back?" "He loves that." "Sir, I am personally responsible for all these chores." The servant turned and left at a brisk pace to join his friends in the street. The Sufi then lay down to sleep and had terrible dreams about his donkey, how it was being torn to pieces by a wolf or falling helplessly into a ditch. And his dreaming was right. His donkey was being totally neglected, weak and gasping, without food or water all the night long. The servant had done nothing he said he would. There are such vicious and empty flatterers in your life. Do the careful donkey tending work. Don't trust that to anyone else. There are hypocrites who will praise you, but who do not care about the health of your heart donkey. Be concentrated and leonine in the hunt for what is your true nourishment. Don't be distracted by blandishment noises of any sort. The dog in the doorway. This is how it is when your animal energies, the nafs, dominate your soul. But someone else uses it to make a pair of pants. The linen has no choice in the matter. It must submit. Or it's like someone breaks into your house and goes to the garden and plants thorn bushes, and ugly humiliation falls over the place. Or you've seen a nomad's dog lying at the tent entrance with his head on the threshold and his eyes closed. Children pull his tail and touch his face, but he doesn't. But if a stranger walks by, he'll spring up ferociously. Now, what if that dog's owner were not able to control it? A poor dervish might appear. The dog storms out. The dervish says, "I take refuge with God," when the dog of arrogance attacks. And the owner has to say, "So do I. I'm helpless against this creature even in my own house. Just as you can't come close, I can't go out." This is how animal energy becomes monstrous and ruins your life's freshness and beauty. Think of taking this dog out to hunt. You'd be the quarry. The light you give off did not come from a pelvis. Your features did not begin in semen. Don't try to hide inside anger, radiance that cannot be hidden. Tending to shots. Don't run around this world looking for a hole to hide in. There are wild beasts in every cave. If you live with mice, The cat claws will find you. The only real rest comes when you're alone with God. Live in the nowhere that you came from, even though you have an address here. That's why you see things in two ways. Sometimes you look at a person and see a cynical snake. Someone else sees a joyful lover, and you're both right. Everyone is half and half, like the black and white ox. Joseph looked ugly to his brothers, and most handsome to his father. You have eyes that see from that nowhere, and eyes that judge distances, how high and how low. You own two shops, and you run back and forth. Try to close the one that's a fearful trap, getting always smaller. Checkmate this way, checkmate that. Keep open the shop, where you're not selling fish hooks anymore. You are the free swimming fish. Think that you're gliding out from the face of a cliff like an eagle. Think you're walking like a tiger walks by himself in the forest. You're most handsome when you're after food. Spend less time with nightingales and peacocks. One is just a voice, the other just a color. 7. Summit. Meetings on the riverbank. On Summit. Summit has no English equivalent. It means something like mystical conversation on mystical subjects. The voices in Rumi's poetry come from many points on the inner-outer spectrum. The outer conversations are contained within quotation marks, and the inner ones are continuous and permeate the entire fabric of his poetry. On the most ordinary level, we all sometimes surprise ourselves by coming out with wisdom beyond our usual. There's a modulation between realities. This is similar to what happens with the fluid pronoun in Rumi's poetry. The you and I are sometimes the lover talking to the beloved, the personal self, and a without form presence within and beyond the senses. Yet sometimes that presence, amazingly, speaks to Rumi through the poetry. Voices slide back and forth within the same short poem. Often the poem serves as a slippery door-sill place between the two, partly in myself and partly outside. The voices coming from the between place. This expanding and contracting of identity is one of the exciting aspects of Rumi's art. Everything is conversation. Human beings are discourse. That flowing moves through you, whether you say anything or not. Everything that happens is filled with pleasure and warmth because of the delight of the discourse that's always going on. Discourse 53. Rumi's poetry mirrors back to us this ocean of woven speech, too intricate and dynamic for any grammarian to untangle. Talking in the night. In the middle of the night, I cried out, "Who lives in this love I have?" You said, "I do, but I'm not here alone. Why are these other images with me?" I said, "They are reflections of you, just as the beautiful inhabitants of Chigil in Turkestan resemble each other." You said, "But who is this other living being?" "That is my wounded soul." Then I brought that soul to you as a prisoner. "This one is dangerous," I said. "Don't let him off easy." You winked and gave me one end of a delicate thread. "Pull it tight, but don't break it." I reached my hand to touch you. You struck it down. "Why are you so harsh with me?" "For good reason, but certainly not to keep you away. Whoever enters this place saying, 'Here I am,' must be slapped. This is not a pen for sheep. There are again, with love, at love." Talking through the door. You said, "How long will you wait?" "Until you call." "How long will you cook?" "Till the resurrection." We talked through the door. I claimed a great love, and that I had given up what the world gives to be in that love. You said, discredited witnesses. I said, surely not. You said, who did you come with? The majestic imagination you gave me. Why did you come? The musk of your wine was in the air. What is your intention? Friendship. What do you want from me? Grace. Then you asked, where have you been most comfortable? In the palace. What did you see there? Amazing things. Then why is it so desolate? Because all that can be taken away in a second. Who can do that? This clear discernment. Where can you live safely then? In surrender. What is this giving up? A peace that saves us. Is there no threat of disaster? Only what comes in your street, inside your love. How do you walk there? In perfection. Now, silence. If I told more of this conversation, those listening would leave themselves. There would be no door, no roof or window either. A mouse and a frog. A mouse and a frog meet every morning on the riverbank. They sit in a nook of the ground and talk. Each morning, the second they see each other, they open easily, telling stories and dreams and secrets, empty of any fear becomes visible. The mouse starts laughing out a story he hasn't thought of in 5 years, and the telling might take 5 years. There's no blocking the speech flow river running, all carrying momentum that true intimacy is. Bitterness doesn't have a chance with those two. The god messenger Keter touches a roasted fish. It leaps off the grill back into the water. Friend sits by friend, and the tablets appear. They read the mysteries off each other's foreheads. But one day the mouse complains, there are times when I want Sobet, and you're out in the water jumping around where you can't hear me. We meet at this appointed time, but the text says lovers pray constantly. Once a day, once a week, 5 times an hour is not enough. Fish like we are need the ocean around us. Do camel bells say, let's meet back here Thursday night? Ridiculous. They jingle together continuously, talking while the camel walks. Do you pay regular visits to yourself? Don't argue or answer rationally. Let us die, and dying, reply. The long stream. The mouse asks the beloved frog, do you know what you are to me? During the day, you're my energy for working. At night, you're my deepest sleep. But could we be together outside of time as well as inside? Physically, we meet only at breakfast. Your absence during the rest of the day. I know I'm not worth it, but your generosity is so vast. Let your sunlight shine on this piece of dung and dry it out, so I can be used for fuel, to warm and light up a bathhouse. Look on the terrible and stupid things I've done, and caused herbs and eglantine to grow out of them. The sun does this with the ground. Think what glories God can make from the fertilizer of sinning. The mouse continues to beg, my friend, I know I'm ugly to you. I'm ugly to me. I'm perfectly ugly. But look, you'll be sad when I die, won't you? You'll sit by my grave and weep a little. All I'm asking is, be with me that little bit of time while I'm still alive. Now. I want you now. A certain rich man was accustomed to honor a Sufi by giving him pieces of silver. Would you like 1 piece of silver now, O Lord of my spirit, or 3 at breakfast tomorrow morning? The Sufi answered, I love the half a coin that I have already in my hand from yesterday more than the promise of a whole one today, or the promise of 100 tomorrow. A Sufi is the child of this moment. Back to the mouse, who says, The slap of now has cash in its hand. Give me slaps on the neck, anywhere. Soul of my soul, of the soul of 100 universes, be water in this now river, so jasmine flowers will lift on the brim, and someone far off can notice the flower colors and know there's water here. The sign is in the face. You can look at an orchard and tell if it rained last night. That freshness is the sign. Again, the mouse. Friend, I'm made from the ground and for the ground. You're of the water. I'm always standing on the bank calling to you. Have mercy. I can't follow you into the water. Isn't there some way we can be in touch? A messenger? Some reminder? The two friends decided that the answer was a longing string, with one end tied to the mouse's foot and the other to the frog's, so that by pulling on it, their secret connection might be remembered, and the two could meet, as the soul does with the body. The frog-like soul often escapes from the body and soars in the happy water. Then the mouse body pulls on the string, and the soul thinks, damn, I have to go back on the riverbank and talk with that scatterbrained mouse. You'll hear more about this when you really wake up on Resurrection Day. So the mouse and the frog tied the string, even though the frog had a hunch some tangling was to come. Never ignore those intuitions. When you feel some slight repugnance about doing something, listen to it. These premonitions come from God. Remember the story of the military elephant who would not move toward the Kaaba, paralyzed in that direction, yet swift if pointed toward Yemen. It had some in-knowing from the unseen. So the prophet Jacob, when his other sons wanted to take Joseph out in the country for 2 days, had a heart sickness about their going, and it was true, though divine destiny prevailed, despite his foreboding, as it will. It's not always a blind man who falls in a pit. Sometimes it's one who can see. A holy one does sometimes fall, but by that tribulation he or she ascends, escapes many illusions, escapes conventional religious materiality. Morning and night they arrive in a long line and take a place of phenomena is a wide exchange of highways, with everything going all sorts of different ways. We seem to be sitting still, but we're actually moving, and the fantasies phenomena are sliding through us like ideas through curtains. They go to the well of deep love inside each of us. They fill their jars there, and they leave. There is a source they come from, and a fountain inside here. Be generous. Be grateful. Confess when you're not. We can't know what the divine intelligence has in mind. Who am I, standing in the midst of this thought traffic? The force of friendship. A sea cow, a dugong, finds a special pearl and brings it up on land at night. By the light it gives off, the dugong can graze on hyacinths and lilies. The excrement of the dugong is precious ambergris because it eats such beauty. Anyone who feeds on majesty becomes eloquent. The bee, from mystic inspiration, fills its rooms with honey. So the dugong grazes at night in the pearl glow. Presently, a merchant drops black loam over the pearl, then hides behind a tree to watch. The dugong surges about the meadow like a blind bull. 20 times it rushes at nothing, passing the mound where the pearl is. So Satan couldn't see the spirit center inside Adam. God says, descend, and a huge pearl from Aden gets buried under dirt. The merchant knows, but the dugong doesn't. Every clay pile with a pearl inside loves to be near any other clay pile with a pearl, but those without pearls cannot stand to be near the hidden companionship. Remember the mouse on the riverbank? There's a